pushing and pulling, it won't open, it's no good, and I'm wide awake now. I can't get no sleep.
The Blades Ramble are proudly supported by our main channel sponsor, My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. We would not be where we are without the incredible support of John and the team. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is another episode of 10-Minute Transfers, the 10-minute show that's usually on at 10 o'clock during your working week or your weekdays to let you know all about the rumours in and around Sheffield United, some that we're here to squash, some that we're here to back up, some that we're here to just speculate on, really, because it's been really tricky trying to firm up what's right, what's wrong. And usually when we do that, we check the source. Now, with this lad here, old Etienne Kinkoue, the source is pretty good. The source has 25 million followers on X. The source is Fabrizio Romano, and he has said that French defender Etienne Kinkoue can leave Le Havre. I don't know if that's how you say it. As current deal expires in June 2026. Price tag is around €5 million as the player wants to take the next step, and Le Havre needs sales as Burnley, Sheffield United and FC Köln, yes, that's how you say it, are showing concrete interest. So, we are in the mix with a Premier League side now in Burnley. Yes, it's Burnley, but we have to show them the respect that they deserve because they were better than us last season. They're a Premier League side. They can offer him Premier League football. Cologne, I've just won the Bundesliga 2, so they are going to be offering the potential to play in the top of the top German division. So, can they both guarantee first team football in Burnley? I don't know. Is the answer in terms of Cologne? Would they want to play in the Bundesliga as opposed to the Championship? Possibly. But is it going to be towards the bottom end of the Bundesliga, which is like signing for a Burnley but in a worse division? Can Burnley offer him first-team football? Will they have CJ Egan-Riley that's just gone, I believe, to Strasbourg with Liam Rosenior? So they need someone to partner Esteve. Do they think this lad is the one to come straight in and play Premier League football? If that's what they can offer, chances are that Burnley are in front of us in this race. The only chance I think we have got in this race, if we are indeed heavily in it, which I believe we will be with the source it's come from, is we can offer first-team football. Now, what do we know about him? There's a little bit to get into here because, I'll be honest, like a lot of these foreign targets, I didn't know a lot about him. I hadn't heard the name before. It helps that I know the clubs that he's been at because he came through at Troyes in France that we all know of, that produced the amazing talent that was Yasser Larouci. No, but also another one that we found out recently came through the ranks at Troyes was Brian Mbeumo, obviously the Birmingham forward, who is now heavily linked with Man United as we speak. But Etienne Kinkoue is 23 years old. He's a 6'4" right-footed centre-back. Now, under Chris Wilder, that may mean, and it didn't always, but usually it meant he would come in to play on the right-hand side of defence. Under Ruben Selles, we don't know if that's the case at all. It may mean that he plays alongside Anel Ahmedhodzic. Whether Anel moves over to the left, we're not entirely sure. But previously, we've been used to it being a left foot, right foot balance, which is always the optimum that you want, ideally. But is it a deal breaker? Sometimes for Wilder it was, and he would persist with Jack Robinson. as the left footer on the left side, but potentially here, we don't know if that makes a difference to Ruben Selles, rather than a desirable, rather than an essential, if that makes sense. So Etienne Kinkoue is in the last year of his contract, as Romano alluded to. That is why we're talking of a fee of around €5 million. Now, the only other thing we can do in terms of looking at what he's like as a player is something we don't like doing on the channel, because, again, I think they can be misinterpreted. I think they're boring to just reel off, if I'm honest. But stats are the only way to tell us a little bit about the player that we don't know. So I'm going to give you a very brief overview, and to be honest, they're not great. They're not great stats. He reads the game well, and I can tell that because he's got a significant number of interceptions over the season. So he's reading the play in front of him, and he's able to step in front and nick the ball. That is the way I interpret that stat, and that is just an interpretation, because it could be something as easy as he plays deep and he sweeps up the ball when opponents overhit it and things like that. So we don't know the context around that, but that is my interpretation of that stat particularly. The only other stat I tend to give credence to with defenders per se is his duels. So he just edges his duels in terms of his aerial duels and his duels on the ground. Usually what you'd like to see from defenders, which we've seen before in other stats, is where they're like winning 2/3 of those. Kinky is just winning just over half. So his stats aren't brilliant. He was also part of a defence that shipped 71 goals in 34 games. They finished fourth from bottom in the league. It appears as though there's a playoff for third place, and it must be the division below, but they've just achieved safety, if you like, in the league. He played in 28 of those games, where they've conceded a significant amount of goals across the season. He's also had 5 yellow cards and 1 red. The red coming against Brest. So I won't be making a gag about him not being able to control himself there. But his stature looks good. He's young. He's fit, clearly, because that's what we are, more data-led nowadays, and that leads more into what you can tell from data is how much of an athlete they are. So do we feel like we can mould him into being the type of player that makes a real difference? He's never really gone for any big money, even though he's had a few moves already at age 23. So I'm by no means sold on this one. What I will say is he's got great pedigree in terms of the clubs that he's coming from. So the Havre and Troyes aren't the biggest, the decent-sized clubs, the known clubs in France. But obviously, when he's been involved at Olympiacos, jumps off the page. But the one that really stands out is Inter Milan. Internazionale, I think, as they go by more often these days. But there's a reason he's been on their radar. And now clubs of a similar level to us, I think it's probably fair to say. Burnley are, I wouldn't say are a bigger club than Sheffield United. I'd say they're in a better division than Sheffield United. Cologne, maybe in years gone by, you can argue that it's much more difficult to compare in terms of with European clubs. Maybe they edge it, but it depends where he wants to play as well. Depends where he wants to play his football. Depends where he sees himself in terms of fitting in, and where's best for his career longer term. He's capped at under 21 level for France. I think the fact that he hasn't had a full international cap might mean he still qualifies for Cameroon, as he is a split Cameroonian and French national. And it feeds into what Paul and Lee were talking about last night on the brilliant, I have to say, our United levelling up and the brilliant view from the mountain last night. Thank you to both lads for if you haven't seen this, you need to go and watch it, because it's a different view to what I had. I came on and I was like, well, why are we letting Kessler Hayden go? Why are we not in for Tommy Doyle? And I understood it, but it still makes you a little bit twitchy. And their arguments that they put forward yesterday with the stats that they brought forward and stuff, and sort of added context to it. It wasn't just a stat fest, but it gave a little bit of depth and substance to, we don't always have to know who these players are for them to be a success. Players have come in direct into the Premier League being unknown quantities before and being a roaring success, as they spoke about last night. As again, if you haven't already seen it, please go and give it a watch. And let me know in the comments what you think initially about old Kinky. Are you excited for United getting Kinky? If that's going to be the if that's going to be the case, let me know in the comments. I'll obviously read everything that you put and sort of it'll feed into a little bit later what we're going to do tonight, which is our transfer roundup of the week. We're going to talk about all the rumours, all the previous ones that we've talked about this week, and any new ones that have come in as well. So that will steer a little bit of the conversation tonight. Join me there on the Ramble live at 7 o'clock tonight. Don't miss that one. And yeah, I think things are starting to heat up, aren't they? Whether you recognise the name or not, whether you're impressed by this as a potential, you might have been put off by some of the stats that I've been giving you there. But again, don't be fooled by stats. Don't be fooled. We haven't seen him with our own eyes. Sayers will want to see him and get to know him a little bit before we make any sort of firm decisions on this one. But maybe we are shopping in a different pool nowadays. Maybe we are looking that level above to a higher calibre of player than we maybe used to previously. And that's exciting. So I'm going to leave it there. As I say, get your comments in. Let me know what you think. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. All the birds!